Hey everybody, I am back, and actually I guess I could say I'm back again. I shot most of this video earlier today and my phone died, and when it came back the whole thing was gone. So I had part of the stuff already built for this tutorial, so we're gonna wing it. Today we are going to make a needle book, and this one here is mine. I just made it a little bit ago. It's upside down. But I don't like having all of my sewing and beading needles and stuff in like pill bottles or anything, because then I have to dump everything out and look for them, and it drives me nuts. So I made a needle book that I can put them all in and be able to see them and pull them out when I want them. So that's what we're gonna make. Now I made this one for myself a while ago. I shouldn't say a while ago, it was like a week ago. Anyways, I had people ask about how to make it, and so I decided to do a video on how I made it. But I don't have enough stuff to make a full-size one like this, so I'm making a half-size one. But I will give you the measurements of what it took to make this one, but we're going to do the process on a half-size. Another thing to let everybody know, I just released yesterday my first mini making video. It was making Christmas trees, and I had a really difficult time doing that video. If you've watched anything I've done before, you'll know that it's just me, my phone, and whatever I'm making. I don't have a tripod or anything, and I discovered in the mini video I need both hands. So the rest of my mini videos that I have planned are going to be put on pause until I save my pennies for a tripod. But the rest of the things I can do with the way I've been doing it. So here we go. Let me set this aside. Okay. For the outside, I guess I shouldn't have set that aside. Good gravy. For the outside, I use just a plain cotton fabric, whatever scraps you have laying around. If you want to buy something specific for this project, obviously you can do that. But the whole thing with me is I like to upcycle. I like to use what I have. I don't want to spend a lot of money because I don't have it to spend. So I had this fabric, I have quite a bit of it actually, from, I don't even know what I had it from. And then I found the Ida cloth, which is cross-stitching fabric. A lot of my local small thrift stores, I get it for like 10 cents a package. So I'll scoop it up when I find it because I use it for stuff like this. And then whatever was excess that was too small for me to use, when you do it, save it. If you're going to do any of the mini videos with me, I will use a lot of it for that kind of stuff when we do towels and curtains and things like that. Plus you can use it for any other little bits and pieces. One of the other videos I have planned, I just haven't had time to do, is taking old pill bottles and making like emergency sewing kits you can throw in your purse. So we'll use that, some of this for that as well. So let me get this out of the way because we don't need my bag of scraps anymore. This I already pre-cut. If you know me, I pre-cut a lot of stuff just because I don't have a lot of time when I'm recording. There, a piece of tape. So I pre-cut all of this, but let's do the pages first. This book, if you want to make it full size, it is, let me see if I can, it's 9 by 6. And basically these sheets of like foam craft sheets, it's a half sheet. That's what the book was. So I had a bunch of extra foam sheets from a different project, so I just cut them in half, and that was the pages. For the book that we're making today, I cut the half sheets in half again. Okay, so it's a quarter. And those are, I want to say it's 4.5 by 6. Yep, 4.5 by 6. All right. There. Let me get all this out of the way so we can work. All right, with your Ida cloth, And this is what I was saying is I had already shot part of this video and we'd already done all the cutting part and I'd started sewing and then my phone died and now we're starting over. But, so you're going to cut your foam sheets first. However many pages you want to do. Plus you need to cut a front and a back of your book. And then in a little bit I'll show you we need to cut the seam part for your book as well. And I'll show you that in a little bit. So however many pages you want to make, I only had enough extra Ida cloth to do 2 pages for this book, which is enough to show you how to do it, and then I can add more later. That's the great thing about the needle books, is you can add, as long as you leave yourself enough space on the binding of the book, you can add as many pages as you want later on. So here's our foam sheet, our quarter sheet. And when you put this on the Ida cloth, you can measure it if you want, but I didn't. I just put it down. I gave myself a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around and cut it out. And so, whoops, once it's cut, you're going to sew a short edge, a long edge, and a short edge. You're going to leave one long edge open. Now that we have it stitched on the 3 sides, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut these corners so it makes it smoother when we turn it right side out. Just so you can see, we've cut the 2 corners. Don't cut these corners. This is our opening part. So clip these, and now we're going to turn this right side out. The thing with I like about Ida cloth is there's no right or wrong side. It's just whatever you designate as a right or wrong side. So we're going to turn this right side out. Once you have it turned, just finger press it down. It doesn't have to be, you don't need to iron it, trust me, because we're going to slide this foam sheet. And the reason I say to use the foam sheet, 1, it's what I had on hand, but 2, you could use cardboard, but the foam sheet is a lot easier to manipulate. And when you're sewing, if you, like this, I didn't have a lot of Ida cloth, so I don't have a huge seam allowance when I go to attach it. If I catch this, it's not going to mess up my machine. And 3, when you go to put your needles into the sheet itself, it's not going to hurt anything, and it won't get stuck if it goes into the foam, where the cardboard can cause problems. So you're going to slide this inside, and I have one here I've already done. See, it's all inside. And then I am using this, because I still have a lot of this left over from wall organizers, little scraps of satin ribbon. You can use grosgrain too, but you're going to want to either use like not a stitch witch, like, yeah, stitch witch, to finish off your edges. Sometimes I melt them, just depending on, but so you don't want them fraying, is what I'm getting at. Fray check, not stitch witch, fray check. That's what you're going to want. And how you're going to do that, so it lines up here, right, and this will be the bottom of your page. Run it up to the top and over. So the length of your ribbons when you cut them need to be twice as long as the length of your page. So whatever size you decide to do, the length of your ribbon needs to be cut twice as long. So I went ahead and cut both pieces of ribbon out. And what you're going to do is the open end that we slid our pieces of foam into, you're going to take the ribbon and you're going to encase it around that. See, so there's the fold right there. So that would be the top of your sheet. And then on a straight stitch, you're going to just, hold on, you're going to want your Ida cloth at the halfway point of this ribbon when you line it up. Okay, so see it's at the halfway point. And then when you're going to take this to your machine, and you're going to do this about a 1/4 inch in. So you're catching your, you're going to catch your sheet in your page inside of your ribbon. Okay, I've done both pages that I have. And the reason, see how it's on the inside and it's just in, you need this extra part here for when we attach it to the book itself. Now I have little tails at the end and I will clean those up before I put them in the book. But so we'll set that aside. Now I pre-cut the cotton fabric. And if you notice, I only did the front and back cover. I have not done this center part yet. And the reason I did it is I didn't know how many, when I pre-cut this stuff, I didn't know how many sheets I was going to be able to make. I only have 2, but eventually I'll probably want to be able to add more. So you're going to want your binding part at least 1 inch, but for me, I'm probably going to make it 1.5 inches. So you're going to take your foam. This is the extra piece. And this is already cut the same height as these. So I'll measure it out 1.5 inches. I'm going to cut that off, and that'll be our center part here. All right, I actually went ahead and made this 2 inches when I started measuring it. I figured I'd really have more space than not enough. So with an ink pen or any kind of pencil, or if you use tailor's chalk, whatever you're going to use, I would not recommend using like a permanent marker because it might bleed through on your fabric. You're just going to want to give yourself a marking here at the top and a marking here at the bottom of how big your foam sheet is going to be. And make sure these are all lined up. Now, when we put this together, they won't be this close to each other. But for marking our fabric purposes, we're going to put these all together. Because I'm giving myself a little stitch line to follow. Okay, now we're gonna, let me get this out of the way. The next part you're gonna do is you're going to do a straight stitch just on the outside of wherever you've marked, right? So that way you have enough room to encase your foam into it. And you're going to do a straight stitch all the way. You're going to stop about 2 inches from the edge of your fabric. I just went to sit at the machine and realized I need to correct that. So I put these back on so you can see. What we're going to do actually is we're going to straight stitch all the way to the edge when you cut out your cotton. And this was in the first video. And then I forgot when I restarted that I didn't tell you this part. Sorry. You're going to give yourself an extra 2 inches at the edge, because when we're done, we're going to fold this. When it's all, and we turn it right side out, we're going to end up folding it over and stitching it down just to give us a little bit more reinforcement on that. So now you can go ahead and stitch along your line and actually go ahead and go all the way to the edge. Sorry about that. Okay, once you have this stitched, the 2 edges, don't stitch the short edge, and you have a fold here. You're going to clip these corners right there, like that, and like that. Whoops, maybe I should clean it. There we go. Sorry. Now you're going to turn it right side out. Okay, now that I have it right side out, you can go ahead and press this down with an iron if you want. I just finger pressed mine for quickness. You're going to take your first sheet of foam and you're going to slide this inside all the way to this edge. Another reason I like to use foam for this is it's a lot easier to get that in and manipulate it a little bit than a cardboard would be. So when you put your foam sheet in, you need to get it to this, your folded edge, and get it all the way up to it. And you're going to go back to your sewing machine, and you're going to stitch. This is the edge of the foam, my finger's catching right there. You're going to stitch not into the foam, but the 2 pieces of fabric, your top and bottom. You're going to hug the edge of the foam and stitch all the way down. Okay, it's kind of difficult. Of course I pick a plaid fabric, but sorry. But my finger's catching the edge of the foam. My nail is. But you're going to stitch right down, all the way down. So this is the front part of our book now. So the next part you're going to slide in will be your center. And you're going to slide it up inside, up to that stitch line. And we're going to stitch again. And then you can go ahead and slide in your third piece. And then I will come back and show you how we close that part off. Alright, I have the front cover. I have my center piece. Both are stitched. In the stitch. I have the back cover in. And then we have our opening. Right, and I told you we had a little bit extra. You're going to fold that in until it meets the foam inside. Right, so now we have a smoother looking edge. And then you're going to fold that up and over. There we go. And then you're going to stitch here and here. Alright, so the cover of our book is done. The other part is with here, sometimes if I buy a specific type of sewing needle and I want to keep the packaging for whatever reason so I can remember, now I have a little pocket and you could even stitch it up here, make it smaller, but you can tuck those in so if you ever, like me, and forget what you bought and need to get it again, you'll know. So now we have our sheets here. And what I'm going to do on this one, because I'm going to leave myself room if I decide to add more sheets to this book later on. So, man, I say sew a lot. Sorry, guys. You're going to line the sheet up with the outer cover of the book. See how we did that? And this is where this comes in handy. We have this extra ribbon part here. You're just going to stitch straight down. This would be another reason why the foam sheet is much easier to work with than cardboard, because your machine will sew through that foam sheet very easily. The cardboard, you might, depending on the type of machine, the type of cardboard you use, type of needle you're using, you might have some issues. But the foam sheet, you can, I just got a plain cotton needle in my machine right now, and it goes through it no problem. I have the first sheet sewn in. Now remember, when we put this sheet down before we stitched it, we lined up the edge of this foam sheet to the edge of the front cover. Good gravy. And then stitched it down. So you can see how that works. The next one, what we're going to do, we're going to line up this sewing line that we did to attach the ribbon to the sheet to this sewing line that we just did to attach the ribbon to the book. So you can, trying to get a good view of that. There we go, like that. And then we'll stitch here all the way up. And now we have 2 sheets in. And obviously you have more room. You can add more. And if you had more sheets, there's even space in between. You can actually fit more. You can fit more up here as well. But for now, this is what I had to work with. And there's our needle book. Except for it's not staying upright right now. There. Ta-da! Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, share it with your friends. I know commenting is still not on. I have not heard back from YouTube as to why I don't have commenting enabled. But the next video I have up for the feed bags, we'll be making reusable sandwich bags. And the next video I have up in the kids craft area, we'll be making keychains out of chip bags. Another thing I wanted to tell everybody is save your empty thread spools. I have a project coming up. I'm saving all mine that I think you guys will like. I have actually 2 projects with them. So save all those and we will use them later on. All right. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.